Any division between human beings will turn an attempt to bring order between us into a disorder. Take a look around at this world. Look at our order. We live on a planet where a child dies every 5 seconds from starvation. On a planet where the richest of us are worth hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars. America, our self-elected police nation of the world, just withdrew their soldiers from a battle and war-torn environment in Afghanistan, 20 years in the making. Apparently, America were there to bring order. Well, the Taliban just rolled back into town with another kind of order. Their order will be to remove limbs from poor people caught stealing who cannot afford bread, and to remove heads from any man or woman who has the audacity to see life differently from their ruling masters. And our ruling masters see life the way they were educated to see it, every one of them, here in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in America, in Iceland. We all obey our educated principles in life. This is not an orderly world, although we all apparently are madly seeking order. The problem is, we are all seeking order from an initial state of division. When we do this, then we are beginning from an outset of disorder. Therefore, every move we make seeking order will bring us to further disorder, because we now seek order from the foundational beginning of a division. The relationship between the word whole and holy is discussed on this website in several videos. Etymologically, there is close relationship between these two words. Holy is presumably a state of mind which comes out of seeing the whole of life, of catering to the whole of life. We do not live in any holy fashion. Our lives are approached in division. Order, it would seem, is to be found in holiness. Order can surely never be found in any disorder. And disorder is always present when the whole has not been considered. And we live in a world where the whole has never been valued at all. Who designed the competitive corporative principles we are all educated to follow? Who divided us into separative nations and separative divisive battling religions? Did we do this to ourselves? This is divisive living. Everything about us is divisive living. Our nationalities, religious beliefs, wealth, ideologies, politics, security, identities are all found in divisions against another. This is not a holy world. A world not whole is a world divided, is a world not holy. And as above, so below. As in the world, so in the human mind. In the human mind, we find the root source of every external division in our lives. It is within this chattering movement of repetitive words and images, which we call me, where I will find every division and animosity between us. It is here we shall find divisive desires and a sense of animosity against another, religious beliefs, a feeling of patriotism, and the very root centre of every one of these movements. This is the human self. This is ego. This is limited movement within memory, blind to truth. This centre within each of us is operating upon learned and educated and traditional knowledge. The kind of educated and traditional limiting knowledge, which comes to divide people in life. Everyone has a me, but some me's call themselves a Christian, others a Muslim, some call themselves British, and others call themselves Afghani. It is not the naming itself which is the problem, but rather the environment which the divisions between the multiple names and beliefs brings. Each of us has been educated to find security in the hostile continuity of what we are. We are traditionally held in opposition to one another. We now come to find our security in a battle. We seek order for our people, divided and brutally warring against your people. But all people are people. Names do not change this fact. Beliefs do not change this fact. Identifications do not change this fact. Wealth does not change this fact. How do we come to end this fatalic evolutionary mistake? Each of us, now born into a divided society, educated into a divisive religious belief, or not, which is the same thing, educated to an allegiance towards a certain position in life, and the belief that the purpose of my life lies in my self-fulfillment. When a world is so brutally divided as ours is, when its operating principles arise from a foundation of disordered divisions, and therefore truthfully, it can be stated that no order ever existed in the first place, will we not now open our eyes to view this very world of total and complete disorder we now all live within? We are all seeking order. Only the order we all seek is being limited in nature to the inner images and educated values we carry in our learned consciousness. A Chinese Communist Party member has no interest at all in the needs of an American CEO banker, and vice versa. A capitalist billionaire, an educated wealth accumulating machine, deeply self-interested, has no interest available for a child dying in Africa of starvation. Our vision of what our life is being limited to the content of our thinking, and our thinking is limited to our past education and experiences, because our thinking is movement within memory. Living this way as we do, divided from the very outset, we approach disorder with an attempt to bring order to it. However, our approach is limited to bringing order only to my divided little group. This is fatal. This is so fatal. We are right now in the process of building one gigantic communal coffin. You see, when you approach life by attempting to bring order to disorder, you are only furthering the continuity of that which you do not wish to see continue. You are bringing further disorder to your world. Why? Because order is no ordering principle to disorder. No such thing exists. Look at this world. Look at your inner life. Does attempting to bring order to disorder ever result in any success? It does not, because order, true order, has no relationship at all to disorder, and therefore no ability to impact it in any way at all. America, as it battles its way around the world, is this a force of order or a force of disorder? Does the judgment not depend on which side of the battle you stand? Step back a little. Perhaps we can come to see more when we are not so closely observing. If I see a disorder in the world, and I am acting out of a limitation based on my own separative identity and beliefs and judgments, how can I ever bring anything other than a disorder? Order will be found, if ever, in this broken world when disorder has come to a complete end. There is no other order. An attempt to bring order into disorder is a continuity of disorder. War never ended war. My own divisions against my own inner nature also never changed a single thing about me. An order which must out of necessity oppose a perceived disorder on closer examination will be found not to be any ordering principle at all. If I enter into violence with violence to end violence, I continue violence. If I condemn condemnation, I continue condemnation. If I fear fear, my fear continues. How will I ever bring my life into the light of its rightful resting place? I must understand violence, fear, and condemnation. It is not battling negatives in my life on a small or large stage which will free me from them, because my battle is fought on the understanding of a limitation and the division between us and our very approach, now rooted in divisive, educated limitations, and these will never lead us anywhere other than into a repetition of our traditional, tragic, bloody pasts. We cannot solve the problems which division has brought into our lives from a foundation of remaining divided. We cannot anymore act positively. Love and relationship between us all will only ever be found with the total denial of that which prevents this state today. What prevents our unity is that which divides us. We carry this within our inner consciousness. We not only carry it, we cherish it, which is an even bigger problem. And yet, for all of our blindness, for all of our ignorance, for all of our stupidity in thinking that we may be able to bring order into our world by attacking disorder, by coming to see that attack in itself is a form of disorder, and that forcefully bringing an order to any people who see life differently than I do could never be considered anything other than disorderly. America has lessons to learn. Will it learn them? It seems doubtful, for a whole world has now built up, now believing that might is right, understanding is right, might is only fight, and we are all rather tired of all this crazy fighting which never has an ending. It is obvious that any order imposed onto our world, coming from the military domination of industrial or technological empires, is a dubious kind of order. This order is not truly order. True order does not come through forcing others to view the world the way I see it. This will have as much success as my trying to force myself to think or behave differently than I find I do. Authority, inner and outer, can only ever lead us further into conflict. Conflict is what we need to end. Only then are we in a position where we can legitimately begin to build. If we seek to build from the current base of each of us having 1 billion nuclear bombs pointed at each other, the building will come to be rather slow and fraught with many difficulties. How do we come together? We need end what divides us. Where is that? In our educated, automatically talking, thinking minds. How do we end it? We understand it. How do we understand it? We watch it. How do we watch it? We watch it. Seeing is a transformative element to mankind. When we see a danger, we act. If the danger is hidden from our view, we have no ability of action. If I see a car driving towards me, I will jump out of its way without even thinking. If I thought, I would likely be dead. But if a car careers towards me from behind, or in any direction I am not looking within, the outcome will be different. The outcome may be tragic. I stand on solid ground in my life when I clearly see what and where I am. And when I am in capacity of sight, my sight, this is what keeps me safe, not my educated thinking, which is functioning automatically from a foundation of educated and traditional knowledge. This, collectively, is what comes to divide us. This is where I must not operate from. But I must first come to see the danger, or else I will never act, because seeing is the required precursor to legitimate action. We all seem to think that thought is the legitimate authority for our lives, and this is one of the largest of our mistakes. This is colossal. We live this way because our thought brings pleasure to our lives, and we like lives lived in pleasure. We spend our lives seeking pleasure. We never seem to notice the pain side, which always accompanies pleasure. Pleasure is no quality ever of the present moment. Pleasure belongs to the past. Have you ever noticed that you must hear a piece of music or a song more than once to appreciate the pleasure of listening to it? On first listening of a piece of music, there is no memory to follow. The pleasure found in listening to music stimulates our brains because of a repetitive nature and the fact that the brain is now recognizing the music, now recorded and stored in memory. Pleasure belongs to memory. Memory is the past. Living lives seeking pleasure is to live lives in the past. Because pleasure is found in the past and in repetition. Living in thought is what divides us. This is the root of all of our divisions. This is our truest of final frontiers. Moving into space could never lead our race into any future destiny of notability, because our race is currently broken. And the break is within and between us. We will carry our broken nature wherever we go, corrupting all. Before we take one more single step from our divided inner limitations, thinking we are involved in anything important, we might want to question what it is which seeks continuing and improving. This movement itself may be a problem. Is it representative of the entire human race? Or is it from only one brain or one sector of humanity seeking its own salvation? A name, an isolated identity, a patriotic movement, representative of only a little divided sector of the totality of all of us. Will we ever bring order to our lives by battling against disorder? Can an order, which must fight to prove its superiority, ever be considered to be anything other than a contributory disorder? Is beating you down into submission to see the error of your ways the movement of a caring and concerned relationship between us. We seem to have lived on a complete illusion that order may be enforced. The winner of a war claims the moral superiority for it. This, apparently, is our order. Our order, when you come to look at it, is our disorder. And yet, another kind of order awaits. This is no order to be found following any battle. This is no order of brutality and dog-assured self-righteousness. This is no order of brute force. This is an order which exists when all disorder has come to an end. And disorder can end only on the understanding of all which brings disorder into our lives. If I am a large force, spending trillions yearly on weapons, of course, I shall come to aggressively dominate this broken world. But is this order? Is this order? This is the total disorder we are all living under. There is little any of us can do against the might of self-interested, self-seeking, empirical pursuits. We have evolved so far down this road of mutual self-destruction. But there may be a lot we can do to impact this dire situation in totality. We are humanity. Humanity is what needs to change. If we can impact our own lives, we are bringing needed change to a broken and divided humanity. When a broken and divided humanity begins to heal, that broken and divided humanity can then begin to heal a broken and divided world. We do not need to attack America, or anyone else for that matter. Attacking is always a waste of energy. Attacking is disorder. We, who are seeking an end to disorder, an end to conflict, shall find little satisfaction engaging within it. But if we can investigate and bring our energy to pursue the ending of all conflict in our lives, then we are making an impact in the only area of our lives we truly have any ability to factually impact. We are becoming an oasis in a desert. Do not seek to change this broken world. It is too big and too broken. Look at only one small part of it. The tiniest of beginnings can lead to the largest of magnificent endings. This world needs a huge change. And if we are to survive ourselves, the change must come through what we are. And the change will only ever be found in the clear investigation and understanding of what we are psychologically, because our psychological human state is the root of all of our human activities. And our divisive human activities are destroying our human lives.